Hi, my name is Alexandra Powers, and I chose a piece of music by Beethoven called Pastoral. And this music was from the classical period, which was between 1750 to 1820. And this piece of music, Pastoral, was composed between 1802 to 1808. After listening to this song, I caught a few instruments like the violin, cello, the flute, and the trumpet. But I also, after doing a little more research, realized there was way more instruments that I didn't even catch, like the clarinet, and there were oboes, horns, even a new instrument that I'd never heard of called a timpani, if I'm pronouncing it right, which was so cool to know that I didn't even know that instrument existed. But around the time point of 2 minutes and 55 seconds, the violins begin to reappear after leaving for the first movement. They join again in the movement of the second and third. They start to get louder and louder, and the symphony changes from a mezzo piano to a mezzo forte. And the bowing from the violin seemed to become more legato. However, around the 3 minutes and 5 seconds, the 3 minutes and 15 seconds mark, you did get to see the bowing going into a more staccato. And during this section, I feel like the music emotionally is just getting more gentle and more joyous, if that makes sense, a more gentle joy, because the constant staccato from the violins was almost exciting, but it was still soft and calm at the same time as the flow of it with all the other instruments. Like it was very like exciting, but it still was, you weren't like excited to get up and everything. You were still a excited calm and slowness and easiness with it, which is really cool. And I also really enjoyed just the violins performance in general. I thought it was so cool how they were present throughout the whole entire symphony and music. Like they never really stopped. Either they were really quiet or they were really loud and doing their own thing, which was just so cool to hear. And I feel like this piece of Beethoven's music was so different from the rest of his music because of how gentle, warm, and how connected you really feel to the music. Because pastoral is meaning nature. This music was based on nature, so we get to see four different movements of music through nature, and it was just so cool to hear because you really do feel connected. You really do feel like you're present in it, and you're underneath the tree listening to the leaves or hearing the birds chirping like that. This music really does make me feel like that. In my opinion, I just think it was the perfect understanding of nature in just a music setting. And I also enjoyed how dramatic but not overwhelming this piece was, kind of meaning that I was still able to like depict certain instruments and understand the reasoning for the different tempo changes. And I wasn't ever confused because usually when I do listen to these old pieces of music, I do kind of struggle understanding the different tempo changes. But with this Beethoven's pastoral just music, I was just so able to just flow with it and understand its reasoning and kind of be able to create my own idea of what he was thinking when he was creating it and composing it. And when I think about a movie scene that best connects with this, I really only think about Star Wars. I feel like these are the certain music that is played in Star Wars, but this piece of Beethoven's music would just be perfect in it, but not for a fighting scene. For like a scene where a character is sitting by himself in a calm, quiet place. And one scene that I really thought would be perfect was in The Last Jedi, where Rey is sitting on a rock, just looking out into the open of the ocean and the water. I think that like the staccato, like I mentioned before with the violins, from like the 2 minutes and 15 seconds to 3 minutes and 50 seconds kind of mark, or 2 minutes and 50 seconds, it kind of just fits perfectly. Like when this certain tempo of the staccato comes back, you can fit it with like the waves crashing, and then like obviously the like increasing of the volume would be perfect from like reflecting from Ray to the water, and just like the atmosphere I feel like would just be perfect. And also I just think this was perfect because the music is really about gentleness and a quiet slow tempo like I mentioned, and this scene is really just Ray alone sitting in a quiet calm like thinking mood, and it just really connects well because she's in nature and she's probably thinking about everything, just looking at the water, just like this piece of music is meant for nature. And if I were to talk to people about this just piece of music, I would tell people how brilliant Beethoven is and how he is just for creating this piece of music, and how pastoral is a type of music that is just so deep, and in a classical way. You just feel that emotional and gentle connection. And this piece is about nature, like I said, and you really do feel like you're connected to the nature, which is so cool because it's just a piece of music. But thank you.